CityFest, where we are doing pints instead of PowerPoints, and we are doing fun with our city facts. And what I'm going to talk about tonight for the state of our city are kind of a top 5 highlights of what we've been working on and how our city is doing. I'm going to go through fire and emergency response, police and traffic enforcement, water, transportation, and housing. But before I get into it, I do want to ask if we can give a huge round of applause to all of our partners. We've got Bevel Brewing, DIY Cave, Soul Skate Shop, and everybody here in the 9th Street Village. Let's give them a hand. We love our local businesses. Without them, this would not have been possible, and I love highlighting this awesome neighborhood spot over on the east side of Bend. So let's get into it. First, we are ready for emergencies here in Bend. Because of our excellent Bend Fire and Rescue Department, our new city position of emergency manager, and our great relationships with the state and the county and rural partners, our city is well positioned to respond to all types of emergencies. This year, which is far from over, Bend Fire and Rescue has responded to a total of 7,512 calls for service. Our city staff, firefighters, and first responders plan for events like wildfire, and they respond quickly and efficiently, working hard in partnership with our community to take preventative measures, prepare for what to expect, and then take action when emergencies happen. This collaboration and partnership was highlighted especially when we had a swift and effective response to the recent mile marker 132 fire that happened in the north part of Bend. The fast response from our fire department, the county alert system, which you can sign up for here today, and help from our Bend police and state resources that were already in the area in anticipation of an event, meant that we lost no lives, no injuries, and no structures after that fire. So thank you to all of our first responders. The city is going to continue our work to mitigate fire risk in that area and everywhere in our city, especially working with people who are living on public land to keep their camping areas clean and provide things like fire extinguishers. We've also partnered with the county for a grant to reduce fuels in that area, and the City Council will be speaking directly with the County Commission on September 5th to agree on a longer-term plan for managing the Juniper Ridge area, both the city and county-owned lands, and create a timeline to close certain areas of high risk to camping. Please know the City Council understands that this was a very scary event that threatened neighborhoods and understandably caused trauma and stress and fear. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, human-caused wildfires comprise 87% of all wildfires nationally. The 2 top causes are escape debris burns and use of equipment. We have seen fires in our region this year started by lightning, cooking fires, vehicles on the road causing sparks, and people target shooting. Everyone in our region, whether you're living outside, whether you're housed or unhoused, recreating, driving your car, operating equipment, we all need to understand that during our now very common dry, high-risk summers, we are all responsible for reducing fire risk and fire starts. Firefighting is just one piece of what Bend Fire and Rescue does. This year, they've also responded to over 6,400 medical calls, and within the Bend city limits, they're averaging less than 6 minutes to do so, which is amazing. This year, they were awarded the American Heart Association's Gold Medal for rapid and research-based care for the most severe forms of heart attacks and strokes. That's a rare national honor, and our department has won it 4 years in a row. So we are doing great work. A quick story I want to tell you about the community connections we have because of that great work. Larry Bryan, a Bend resident, experienced that life-saving response time firsthand in 2017. He went into cardiac arrest, and his girlfriend called 911 and started CPR. After being transported by our fire department, he walked out of St. Charles with 0 repercussions or long-term consequences. And now, Larry teaches free CPR classes through Bend Fire and Rescue, every month holding a community class where you can come and learn how to help us save lives. So thank you to our community and to our fire department for all the great work we're doing in Bend right now. Second, we're improving our public safety response in Bend. From helping rescue ducklings that are stuck in a storm drain, to responding to urgent 911 calls, the Bend Police Department does it all to serve our community and help keep us safe. And they do it with transparency, providing a police data dashboard that allows residents to see frequently updated crime and response data across our city. I'm grateful we have a department that's constantly looking to improve and use training, technology, and new ways of connecting with the community to do a better job in Bend. You might not know, our department is actually one of the only fully staffed police departments in the state of Oregon. For the first time since 2020, we're able to say that. And what that means is once these newest recruits and officers are trained, we're gonna have more detectives, more investigators, and more traffic enforcement officers available. Bend will be safer because our department is fully staffed, and part of the reason that's so is because our department is a great place that people wanna work. They're enthusiastic also about making connections with community members. In the last year, they spent over 3,000 hours doing community enhancement work, meaning events like Nationals Night Out and events like this, as well as school visits and our community academy, which is now in its 40th year. The connections between the community and our police department are evident and so important to having that effective police response to crime in Bend. So next I have a favorite community topic, which is speeding and traffic enforcement. We hear from community members consistently through surveys, emails, just conversations in a grocery store about how people are worried about speeding and fast traffic in Bend. I'll talk in a little bit about our infrastructure and design that we're working on to slow speeds, but I want to assure everyone, yes, the police are out there enforcing our traffic laws. Between January 1 and July 31 of this year, police officers issued 6,540 traffic tickets. And because officers can't be all the time everywhere watching for violations, we are working on a program for automated traffic cameras, photo cameras, that will be soon installed in locations across Bend. And at a roundtable earlier this year, that solution was widely welcomed by neighborhood leaders, and their feedback is going to be incorporated into that program. So we thank our innovative department for making the best of the resources we do have. I do have a call for everyone here and all of our residents. Please take it upon yourself to drive a little slower, come to a full stop, and look for people walking, biking, motorcycling, and out and about in Bend. Getting there a few minutes earlier isn't worth the risk to your or someone else's life. So please slow down. And also for a fun aspect of traffic enforcement and education, tune in to Traffic Tuesdays with Tommy on social media. This is where Officer Tommy Charles will educate everyone on our traffic laws. And in a recent video, let people know, no, you cannot make a U-turn in the middle of Highway 97. So don't do that. All right, moving on now to water. We are stewarding and conserving our water resources for the future of Bend. In a place like Bend, it can be easy to take for granted the award-winning water that comes out of our taps and that we drink every day. I want to assure you that our city staff do not take that precious resource for granted and work every day to monitor, conserve, and plan for our water future. And despite Bend's growth, our use of water per capita has remained relatively flat in recent years, meaning we're using less per person, which will continue to be the goal going forward. Yay. In the Deschutes Basin, cities account for about 2% of the water use, with the largest users being agriculture, but we still must do our part to protect the watershed that we all benefit from. One way we do that is by buying water credits through our basin mitigation program from other water rights holders, who then put more water back into our beautiful river. This type of good planning and stewardship also can include regulations about irrigation in the right-of-way, or how often people turn on their sprinklers, along with smaller programs for residents, like our new turf removal program that helps ensure the future generations of Bend have the water that they need to grow up and thrive here. Thank you to everyone who applied for that first round of funding for the turf removal program. It was incredibly popular, and the funding was fully allocated within the first month, and our staff are still receiving weekly inquiries about that. That program is a good example of how our community members can partner with us to create long-lasting water savings. So I appreciate everyone here who is willing to rip out your lawn and put in some native plants and help us save some water. When we think about the future of water and everything else in this region, we need to think about that as a shared future. And we need to account for the ways that our decisions are impacting our neighbors and the greater community. Earlier this year, our city council was proud to sign the first memorandum of understanding with the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. Bend is built on the ceded lands of the tribes, where they retain the right to fish, hunt, and gather. And we are grateful for the government-to-government agreement and relationship that we've started with the Warm Springs Tribal Council. We've had a few meetings so far and have agreed to come together annually to discuss topics of shared interest. And water is one of those interests and especially important to the tribes. Our staff recently met together to see how we can continue to partner with them and hear their voices on this topic. And as we plan for our water future, we will ensure that we're acting in collaboration with everyone in the Deschutes River Basin, including the original stewards of the river and the land. All right. Fourth, we are building better transportation infrastructure in Bend. So you may have noticed the roads are under construction, just period, everywhere. We've got a lot going on, all the way from the North project that ODOT's handling for us up there to our GO bond projects and other fixes that are listed on our capital improvement program. And the overarching goal in all of these projects is safety and connectivity. We started talking about traffic safety earlier in the context of enforcement, but I want to talk about the ways that the design of our roads impacts safety. You're going to continue to notice that intersections and routes around Bend are going to look a little different, and that's guided by our transportation system plan, our transportation engineers, and our council goals around reducing traffic violence. Right here on the Wilson corridor, these businesses can all tell you that we've gone through a lengthy process of construction, and that has added safety through roundabouts and protected bike lanes and connected sidewalks. The latest addition capping off this project is the protected intersection you may have seen at 3rd and Wilson. And this is one of our first intersections like that, and it is built to account for all types of travel. So you're walking or rolling, you're cycling, or you're driving through the intersection. And the point, and as will be many of the newer designs, is to slow people down at the most dangerous moments. Turning movements through intersections in particular are very dangerous and can cause incredible harm. So that's the design of the intersection. If you find yourself slowing down to take a right or a left, it is working as intended, and we're really proud to keep pushing forward on safety measures like these. So the reality for transportation is that people who are walking, biking, and rolling in Bend are more vulnerable to being hurt in an encounter with someone who's driving a car. So how we design our streets and systems, we can actually try to make sure that we're preventing injury and death of those most vulnerable users. We are working, as Councilor Broadman mentioned, on creating that safer network of paths and routes that connect our city and allow cyclists and pedestrians to be separate from vehicles so everyone can get around safely. And I'm incredibly excited that we're moving forward with one of those crucial east-west connections. Who can guess what it is? The Hawthorne Overcrossing. The Hawthorne Overcrossing. So that bridge is going to be not only a game changer for our Bend Central District's redevelopment, but it will make that crucial connection between downtown and our central area so people can get back and forth without having to duck through a cramped tunnel or go and ride near fast cars. And due to our advocacy and the support from a lot of our community partners, the majority of that bridge's funding is coming from federal and state grants. So I really want to thank everybody who gave input on that bridge, the design, the grant support, and I really look forward to that project continuing to move forward in the next few years, hopefully with completion by 2027. As we all know, work on our transportation system is never done, and that means not just building these projects, but also maintaining them. You can see out in the street some of our awesome equipment that we use to maintain the streets around Bend. This year, the council improved a transportation fee on utility bills, which is a tool for funding our maintenance and operations, similar to many states, many cities that use this tool across the state. Because of the flaws in our property tax system, increasing costs, and declining gas tax revenue from the state, council took proactive action to ensure we're not just building transportation infrastructure, but we're also maintaining it with equipment, materials, and the staffing necessary to meet the expectations of our community. So I do want to thank the many community members, groups, committee members, experts who helped us go through the year-long process to design and implement this new fee. From potholes to pedestrian crossings to sweeping bike lanes, we know we need to keep our good roads good and bring our subpar roads up to standard. The new fee will allow us to do that work for our community and continue to implement programs that will help us to build a complete sidewalk network, increase safety for everyone, and make those crucial connections across the community. In future phases, we plan to explore how we can lower that fee for people who actively take steps to have less impact on our system and to reduce their vehicle trips. So stay tuned for more, and thank you all for helping us support our streets and operations and build an incredible transportation system for Bend. All right, fifth and finally, we are making meaningful progress in tackling the housing crisis in Bend. It's no secret that Bend isn't affordable for the average family. In fact, the average sale home price is nearly double what a family earning the median wage can afford. We're short approximately 6,000 affordable homes, essentially stuck years behind what our population growth actually demands. And this isn't just a Bend problem. The last time housing production in this nation kept up with population growth was just after World War II. So what are we doing about it? Everything we possibly can at the city level. We recently received a staff report at council showing that our efforts in past years in creating more multifamily homes has resulted in rents stabilizing for the first time in many years. And they also told us we are producing more homes per capita than any other city in the state right now. So we are doing the work. Yay! Yay! But we know that as people continue to move to our beautiful city, if we don't keep up in providing that attainable housing and digging out of that shortage gap, too many people will be priced out or become homeless. And from policy change to permitting timeline work to legislative advocacy, the City Council has been diligently working to address this problem. I want to highlight that earlier this year, Bend was one of just 21 cities across the nation to receive a federal grant to produce more affordable housing. We were the only city in Oregon to receive this money from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and one of the main reasons they chose to invest in us with $5 million of funding was our track record on housing policy and production that shows we're going to be able to use those funds to effectively build more housing that people can afford. Incredible work. And I really can't, the staff and our community partners that helped us to achieve that grant are amazing. I can't emphasize enough how well they work with our community partners, especially our partners who build affordable housing. And we need them. As a government agency, we don't build housing directly. We help fund and support these partners who coordinate, and they're the ones who are constructing those affordable homes for purchase and rent. An example that's relevant to this area that you're going to be seeing construction on soon are the 26 homes that Habitat for Humanity is going to develop along Northeast Franklin and Bear Creek. Those 26 homes will be available for purchase for families who are earning 80% of the area median income, and that's around $80,000 per year. We provided city-owned land for those affordable homes, and that's something the city has done frequently and that we're going to continue to do as long as we have land available to give.
That's right.
Our charge related to housing is very clear. Too many people can't afford a home in Bend, and we have to build more, and we have to build for people of all income levels. We have to work towards closing that gap between need and supply. And one big reason for that is because the data shows that when housing prices rise, and they rise quickly, rates of homelessness increase. And we are no stranger to that reality here in Bend. Addressing homelessness goes hand in hand with addressing the housing crisis. And the city continues to do more than we ever have to create shelter and pathways out of homelessness. Our Lighthouse Navigation Center has already helped hundreds of people not just stay out of the elements, but get the services they need so they can move on to their next housing step. Our renovation of that building will wrap up this fall and allow us to expand the ability to connect people with behavioral services and peer support. And we're so grateful for our partnership with Shepherd's House and our other nonprofits in the county for helping us to make that Navigation Center a success. So, as Councilor Brodman mentioned earlier, we're very proud that the work we are doing has resulted in the first reduction in our point-in-time count of people experiencing homelessness in a decade. And that shows that our collaboration with our community partners, the county and the state, is working in our city. But I want to be clear, no one should be living outside. No one should be experiencing homelessness on the streets of Bend. We have veterans, families, kids, abuse survivors, people who are working every day, and people who are suffering from addiction and mental health struggles who don't have the shelter and housing that they need. And in a place like Bend with those out-of-reach housing prices, we still are not making enough low and middle income housing, and too many people are just one medical job or one medical bill, a lost job, or a rent raise away from becoming homeless. Only by providing a safe and stable place to lay their head and then connecting them with the services that meet their individual needs can we hope to make a dent in this issue. But I pledge, and I know the council pledges too, that the city of Bend will continue to do our part to tackle this massive problem, and we will continue to call for our county, state, federal partners, and our community to step up to the plate with us and help solve homelessness.
Nice.
All right, so that was 5 ways, as I wrote in my note here. We're doing the things. We're going to keep doing the things that we need to do for our community to improve and for everyone here to have the opportunity to thrive. I do want to mention at this moment that a lot of this work is driven by our council goal setting, which happens every 2 years and will be happening again next January. And I want everyone in this audience to know that you have a voice and an input into that goal setting process. We have many ways that we've been changing how we engage with the community, including events like this, roundtables, open houses, all sorts of ways that you can tell us what are the issues that are most important to you and how do you want us to prioritize city resources. One thing that I hope that we can continue to try to work on and achieve, along with everything else I've talked about, is making sure that we are a welcoming city where everyone here feels safe to be who they are and be a part of this great Bend community. I grew up here. I love Bend. This is my city. This is your city, and this is our city. So please join us, join your council as we continue to work towards making Bend a better place that will thrive not only today, but into the future. Thank you, everybody.